Kyle Busch is coming back to the Truck Series for 5 races. Aric Almirola is coming back to the Xfinity Series for 9 races. Did William Byron intentionally hit the wall after winning the Daytona 500? Plus, we need to talk about the Fox booth. Clint Bowyer, just be quiet. Welcome back to Break Hard. I'm Matt. So, not yesterday's video, the day before, or the video I posted before was Saturday night in Daytona, recapping the ARCA race and the Xfinity race. People noted that I had clothes just absolutely thrown everywhere on the couch behind me. Listen, I got back from the track. I was looking for something to wear, just ripped apart the carry-on, and it honestly looked like it exploded all over the couch. Something has probably exploded on that couch at some point, but clothes this time. That was not right. I got to stop doing that. I got to stop walking myself into these areas where you're like, well, that's open for interpretation, and that sounds really bad when you say it that way. Regardless, my house is actually very clean. I'm usually not a messy person at all, actually. You're not getting a tour. You just have to take my word for it. But let's get into what we want to talk about today. Real quick, I went back and watched the Daytona 500 broadcast on Monday night, and I'll talk about that towards the end of this video about the Fox booth. But there's one commercial that I haven't seen because, well, I typically just don't pay attention to commercials. The Coke ASMR commercial, somebody needs to fire that commercial into the sun. I can't take it. I absolutely cannot take it. Any sort of mouth sounds, noises, liquids, I can't. I got goosebumps. It makes me cringe. I hate it so much. I was in Steamboat 2 weeks ago. There's some dudes riding up in the gondola with us. They were chewing gum. I don't know if you've ever been in a gondola before. It's quiet. You're just kind of floating through the air there, and these dudes were just smacking their lips. And if it was legal to throw them out, I probably would have. I can't take it. And that ASMR video drives me absolutely insane. All ASMR videos do, actually. Torture. It's torture. And they played it during the race, and I had to mute the TV. I was like, can't do it. Okay, let's get into what we want to talk about real quick, though. All right, let's talk about who's coming back into what series. Kyle Busch is coming back to the Truck Series for 5 races in 2025, just like he did last year. He'll be driving for Spire Motorsports, the team that bought his old Kyle Busch Motorsports Truck Series team. It's got to be weird walking back into that shop and being like, oh yeah, hey, I built this and did everything here, and now somebody else owns it. But also his bank account's like, yeah, dude, we did build it, and now we cashed out on it, so congrats to him for that. But he'll be racing 5 times this year in the Truck Series for Spire, either in the 7 truck or the 07 truck. It'll get started this weekend in Atlanta, driving the 7 truck for Spire, and then he'll be driving the 07 at North Wilkesboro, the 7 at Charlotte, and then the 07 at Nashville, as well as Watkins Glen. And honestly, he should be the favorite to win every single one of those races. I'm actually really excited that he's running the North Wilkesboro race as well, because that's been a pretty fun race the last 2 years. And Kyle at Watkins Glen, I don't know who else is going to be in that truck race, but like he's clearly automatically the favorite to win that one as well. I mean, hell, he's going to be the favorite to win all 5 of them, if we're being completely honest here. But I think it's good for Kyle. I like the fact that he's coming back to run these 5 races. Obviously, I don't want to see him run the whole schedule unless that's the championship he's competing for. And hey, if he wants to come back down and do that and be the first person to win a championship in all 3 series and really add on to his already Hall of Fame worthy career, I'm totally fine with that. But having him back for 5 races, I think is going to be good for Kyle Busch. Not that Kyle Busch has ever lacked confidence, but after going winless in the Cup Series last year, coming down to the Truck Series, winning there probably in one of these 5 races, certainly isn't going to hurt that level of confidence either. So excited to see him back down in the Truck Series starting this weekend in Atlanta. Now, on the other side of things, Aric Almirola, who raced for Joe Gibbs Racing last year in the Xfinity Series, did 14 races, 9 top 10s, 8 top 5s, and 3 wins to go along with it, will return to Joe Gibbs Racing this year as well in that number 19 car with sponsorship from Young Life. And honestly, Aric Almirola looks exactly like a Young Life leader. I never participated in it. I'm typically not susceptible to cults. I lived in a neighborhood, though, here in Cincinnati, where I bought my first house, that actually did have a cult in it. And there's a write-up on the Cincinnati Enquirer if you want to go ahead and read that. It's called Gladstone. Well, now it's called the Madison Place Community Church is what they technically go by now. It's definitely a cult. If you say you're not a cult and you've got 18,000 words on why you're not a cult, you're probably a cult. Now, like I said, not somebody that's ever been susceptible to a cult. Not saying Young Life is a cult. Gives off cultish vibes. But they do have money. They do have sponsorship. It's like Boy Scouts with Jesus, essentially, except for high schoolers. So Eagle Scouts? I don't know how the whole hierarchy works. Regardless, Aric Almirola is going to be driving the Young Life number 19 car in 2025 for Joe Gibbs Racing in 9 races. Yeah, should be pretty good for him. Like I said, had great success last year with those 3 wins, 9 top 10s, and 14 starts. Just stay away from bubble walls in a comp meeting. That's probably the only thing, the bit of advice that I think Aric Almirola should heed going into this year, or else you end up getting yourself suspended for multiple months once again, and that's probably not a good thing at all. So Aric Almirola coming back to the Xfinity Series for 9 races, Kyle Busch for 5 races in the Truck Series. I think it's a good move on both parties. All right, everybody, grab your tinfoil caps. Go ahead and put them on. If I wasn't almost out of tinfoil, I would have definitely put mine on as well here, because the internet thinks that there is a conspiracy happening once again, which I know is not a surprise to anybody. Everything's a conspiracy right now to every single person out there, especially if you're on the Facebook side of things. But after William Byron's win on Sunday night in the Daytona 500, he was doing his burnout, and as he comes onto the back onto the racetrack, he dumps the clutch, does a bit of a burnout, and then rolls up and pops the left front of the car into the wall, just kind of bounces off of it and keeps going. And the internet immediately is like, William Byron hit the wall on purpose right there to make sure that his car would pass tech after the race. He's got an illegal car, take the win away from him, give it to Tyler Reddick. And then people realize who Tyler Reddick drives for, and they're like, give it to Jimmy Johnson, because, well, people hate Denny Hamlin. Listen, I don't think there's a conspiracy here. William was asked about it by Bob Pockrass on Tuesday during his media tour in New York City. And he said, yeah, turns out, he said, I'm just really clumsy. That's all that it was. You can listen to him say it right here.
I hit the wall on purpose on my burnout. I'm just really clumsy. So no, but honestly, no, I haven't looked at any social media. I feel like that's the best way to go.
So Byron says that he's clumsy, the same way that you're clumsy when you kick the stairs or kick the corner of the couch, or I walk into the corner of the bed. Every single time I walk into the bedroom, it's a design flaw by the bed, because the comforter hangs down over it and then you don't see the corner of it, and then you walk into it and my shins hurt really, really bad. But that's me being clumsy. William Byron, he's just clumsy in a race car and he bounces it off a wall. Do I think that he, is trying to cover up something here? No. Does the conspiracy, the conspiracy community need to calm down? Yeah, probably in this situation. So I think a lot of this is stemming from the fact that after the truck race, when Parker Kligerman got disqualified for his truck being too low, Landon Castle tweeted out that everybody that wins a race should just hit the wall after the race, because then you can't tech the car because it's been wrecked essentially. And everybody's like, that's what happened here. They knew they were illegal. That's why they went ahead and wrecked the car and this and that. Listen, I don't know how to tell you guys this, but after basically every win, the drivers are doing something inside the race car to the race car as they're coming back around to adjust something. Like it's just happening. Whether they're doing big burnouts down the front stretch, whether they're sliding through the infield grass, whatever they're doing, it's helping them, get by with their cause. So yeah, there's nobody here that's, not doing a little bit of something after they win. For the most part, I don't think that this is as egregious as people are making it out to be. When you look at it, yeah, he does look like he dumps the clutch, and then because he's on banking, the rear end of the car slides around, and then as he catches it, he just kind of bounces off the wall and keeps going. I don't think that there's a conspiracy here. I think we can go ahead and take the tinfoil caps off. We can set them down to the side for a little bit until, I don't know, Atlanta post-race, and I'm sure we'll have something else that's going to be a conspiracy. But in this situation, I don't think William Byron did anything illegal. I mean, at the end of the day, he was still running 7th. The engine still got teched after the race, still got torn down, and everything was fine. So yeah, no, I don't think William Byron is illegal. I think William Byron's car was very much safe. We know William Byron's not illegal. I mean, his car is not illegal. I think everything's fine. Everything's on the up and up here. Hendrick's not cheaters, as much as everybody on the internet's like, oh, Hendrick getting away with something once again. I think it's okay. I think it's all going to be all right. So like I said at the beginning of the video, I watched the broadcast back on Monday night, and I have a few thoughts on the Fox broadcast. First, I'm going to start off with praise for the Fox broadcast, which had maybe never happened in the history of Break Hard before. And there are some people over at Fox that I do actually really like. Behind the scenes people, I think that they do a good job. I think that sometimes the direction of the broadcast is maybe dictated by some higher ups, and that's unfortunate. I will say this. The emphasis on side-by-side commercials, I really appreciated that. I know people are going to be like, there were so many commercials. Technically, there was like 6 less minutes of commercials this year than last year. I believe last year was 59. This year, I believe, was 53. 66% of the broadcast was run in side-by-side, exponentially more than last year in 2024. So that is a big step forward. Fox has this commitment to doing the races that are on Network Fox. They said this in the Adam Stern article that came out on Tuesday on Sports Business Journal. The races that are on Network Fox, green flag racing will be shown with side-by-side commercials. Some races on FS1 will see full screen commercials during racing, but they are still going to be trying to do side-by-side there as well. Hey, hats off. That's a massive win for the fans, because having full screen commercials and not seeing what's happening is the worst part of watching a race on TV. So if Fox is trying to give us those side-by-side commercials as much as they can and they truly stick to it, yeah, I'm going to applaud that, because it's something that absolutely needs to be done. And they've listened to the fans in this situation, because the fans have done nothing but complain about it, rightfully so. Don't get me wrong, bully them into doing this, but it needed to happen. It's the only major sport where there's actual action happening, and we don't get to see it until we come back from commercial. It's maddening at times. And then I'll say this. I thought the broadcast booth actually did a pretty good job with this race for 98% of it, 99% of it even. I still don't think that the chemistry is there between Mike Joy, Kevin Harvick, and Clint Bowyer. The relationship between Harvick and Bowyer just is really awkward and clunky, and personally, I'm not a fan of it. Mike Joy, has he lost a step? Yeah, but he's still really good at what he does. The part that I have a big time complaint with is Clint Bowyer at the end of the race. So if you watched NBC's broadcast last year when Lee Diffie took over from Rick Allen, Lee Diffie has this really great ability to call a race or call whatever he's watching, the finish of it, and has the exact right words to say and the exact right phrases at the exact right time, and knows how to let the moment, happen as it's happening. And that's a massive skill. But while he's doing that, the other two people in the booth, Steve Letarte and Jeff Burton, they shut up. They're like, this is Lee's moment. This is what he's getting paid for. He's going to call this race across the finish line here. Now, that's not happening on the Fox side of things. Mike Joy doesn't necessarily have the iconic calls, but he certainly is also very well gifted in calling a finish of a race. He can absolutely do that 10 out of 10 times. The problem is when you have a situation like what happened on Sunday night, and you have a guy like Clint Bowyer, who is ADHD to the max, who's Darrell Waltrip just in a younger form, he can't shut up. He just won't shut up.
Be a two-time winner here, William Byron. Byron, Nemechek, Reddick.
And as Mike's trying to call William Byron across the line to win his second Daytona 500 in a row, you have Clint just screaming over him. Shut up, Clint. It's not your moment to call it.
Off turn 4 and to the flag. Checker is waving, and William Byron has won the 5.
Mike Joy is the lead on the Fox broadcast. That means he needs to call this coming across the line. Clint is there for a color commentating position. That does not mean that he's calling the race winner. Now, are there times in history where we've certainly have had moments where the color commentator has added to it? Yeah, absolutely. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is a perfect example of that at Chicagoland with the slide job comment as Rick Allen's trying to call the finish of that race. Great. It's iconic. We know it, but it's not something that needs to happen every week. Clint didn't add anything to this. He was basically just repeating what Mike Joy was trying to say, or saying it before Mike Joy could say it, and he just stepped all over the call there. Like I said, I thought the broadcast wasn't that bad. Going inside the helmet, that stupid segment with like 16 laps to go in the race, yeah, that was a bananas move. I was standing in the legacy pit when they did that, and I looked over at the monitor after the cars went by, and I was like, why the hell are we looking at Kyle Busch doing an inside the helmet segment in the closing laps of the Daytona 500? Run the segment next week. Who cares? We don't need to run it right now. I don't even remember where the segment was now. And I even watched the broadcast back because I truly did not care. But I'll say this, I thought the broadcast wasn't bad. I thought Fox actually made an improvement here. Maybe they're trying to show NASCAR like, hey, we can actually do this really well. I still would make wholesale changes on the Fox side of things. I think they need, I think Artie Kempner probably needs to be moved out of that position. I think they need to have some new ideas brought to the table there. I think they need sort of a refresh, a more youthful approach to it. But I think what they had on Sunday wasn't bad. Wasn't bad. Jamie Little still can't call a Truck Series race. Jamie Little still can't call an ARCA race. But the Cup broadcast, I'm here for it after this weekend. Now, having said that, I have to watch from home this weekend for the Atlanta races, and there's a good chance on Monday I'm going to get back on here and be like, I can't stand it. So I don't know. We'll see how it all plays out. But I thought the broadcast made good improvements over what we saw in 2024, and I'm here for that. So hats off to Fox for at least listening for now. We'll see how all of it plays out. So let me know in the comments what you think about Kyle Busch and Eric Almirola coming back. William Byron, did he hit the wall on purpose? Is it a conspiracy? let me know your thoughts on that. And Fox, I didn't think it was bad, but Clint needs to just shut up on the last lap. Like and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on TikTok at BreakHard, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at BreakHardBlog.